Namaste. Today I'm going to read Book 1, Volume 1, Vidyeshvara Samhita, Chapter 24, The Greatness of the Holy Ashes in the Shiv Puran. Om Vakratu Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvigaram Kurveda Sarvakaya Survekadata. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sutta said, the ashes of auspicious nature are of two types. I shall explain their characteristics. Please listen attentively. One is known as Mahabhasma, great ashes, and the second is known as Svalpa, the little. The Mahabhasma is of various types. It is of three types: Srota, Vedic, Smarta, resulting from Smriti rites, and Laukika, prepared from ordinary fire. The Svalpa is the ordinary ash, which is of various forms. The Shrauta and the Smarta ashes are to be used only by the twice-born. The Laukika can be used by everyone. Sages have said that the twice-born should apply the holy ashes repeating mantras. The others can simply apply without any mantra. When dry cow dung is reduced to ashes, it is called Agniya, fiery. O great sage, for the sake of Tripundra, this ash can be used. The ashes resulting from Agnihotra and other sacrificial rites shall be used for the Tripundra by men seeking intellect. When the ashes are put on the forehead or smeared with water, the 7 mantras, Agni, etc., mentioned in the Jabalopanishad shall be recited. People of all varnas and ashramas shall put on Tripundra on the forehead or dust their bodies with the mantras mentioned in the Jabala Upanishad, or if no mantra is used, they shall do the same with reverence, dusting with the holy ashes and smearing the Tripundra in horizontal parallel lines shall not be abandoned by those who seek salvation. Shruti lays down that they shall not get negligent. Shiva, Vishnu, Uma, Lakshmi, goddess of speech, and other gods and goddesses, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and persons of mixed castes and hill tribes have observed Tripundra and dusting always. Those who do not observe Tripundra and Udhulana cannot practice well the various rites of the different varnas and ashramas. Those who do not observe with faith Tripundra and Udhulana cannot be liberated from the world even if they take 10 million births. Even after hundreds of crores of kalpas, Siva knowledge will not dawn upon those who do not observe with faith Tripundra and Udhulana. This is the final conclusion of all sacred texts, that those who do not observe with faith Tripundra and Udhulana are tarnished by great sins. Any action performed by those who do not observe Tripundra and Udhulana with faith will give adverse results. O sage, the hatred towards Tripundra and Udhulana is kindled in the hearts of only those great sinners who hate everyone. After performing the sacred rites of Shiva in the fire, the devotee who has realized the self shall smear the forehead with the ashes, repeating the mantra, beginning with Trayayusa. The moment the ashes come in contact with his body, he will be freed from sins of his impious acts. He who observes Tripundra with white ashes during the 3 Sandhyas every day becomes free from all sins and rejoices with Shiva. He who makes the Tripundra on the forehead with white ashes shall attain on death the primordial worlds. No one shall repeat the 6-syllable mantra without applying ashes on the body. After making the Tripundra with the ashes, he shall perform the japa. All holy centers and all sacrifices will be present forever in the place where a man, after having put ashes on, his body stays permanently. No matter whether he is ruthless, base, sinful, or commits morning sins, or is a fool or a fallen man, even a sinful person who is worthy of being honored by devas and asuras, if he has Tripundra on his forehead, what then of a faithful man endowed with a pure soul? All the holy centers and sacred rivers go ever to the place which a person who is endowed with Shiva Jnana, knowledge of Shiva, and has put on ashes casually visits. Why should I say more? The sensible person shall always apply the ash, shall always worship the phallic image, and shall always repeat the 6-syllable mantra of Shiva. Neither Brahma, nor Vishnu, nor Rudra, nor sages, nor the devas can explain adequately the greatness of the application of the ashes. Even if a person has eschewed the duties of the different varnas and ashramas, even if a person has omitted the holy rites of the varnas, he shall be freed from the sin if he wears Tripundra once. Those men who exclude a man wearing Tripundra and perform holy rites are not liberated from worldly bondage, even after crores of births. If a Brahmin wears the Tripundra with the ash on his forehead, he must be considered as having learnt everything from the preceptor and as having performed every sacred rite. Those who begin to strike on seeing a person who has applied the ash are reborn of Chandala parents. O Holy One, this can be guised by the wise. With great devotion, Brahmins and Kshatriyas shall apply the holy ashes over such parts of the body as are prescribed by the rules, by the rule repeating the mantra Ma Nastoki, etc. A Vaishya shall apply the ashes repeating the Triambaka mantra and a Shudra with the 5-syllable mantra. Widows and other women shall do like the Sudras. A householder shall repeat the Pancha Brahma mantra, etc. And a Brahmacharin shall repeat the Triambaka mantra at the time. The Vanaprastha shall repeat the Aghora mantra, and an ascetic shall observe with the Pranava alone. A Shiva Yogin, being outside the pale of Varna and Ashrama rite because of his conception, I am Shiva, shall wear ashes with the Isana mantra. Shiva has ordained that the rite of wearing ashes shall not be eschewed by the people of any caste and outside the bonds of caste by other living beings. A person who has applied ashes on his body actually wears as many lingas as there are particles of the ash that remains on his body. Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras, people of mixed castes, women, widows, girls, heretics, a brahmacharin, a householder, a forest dweller, an ascetic, performer of sacred rites, and women who have Tripundra marks are undoubtedly liberated souls. Just as the fire, when touched with or without knowledge, burns the body, so does the ash, one consciously or unconsciously, sanctify the man. No man shall drink or eat even a bit without applying bhasma or wearing rudraksha. If he eats or drinks, whether he is a householder or vanaprastha or an ascetic, a man of the four castes or of mixed caste, he becomes a sinner and goes to hell. If a man of the four castes repeats Gayatri, or if an ascetic repeats the pranava, he shall be liberated. Those who censure Tripundra actually censure Shiva. Those who wear it with devotion actually wear Shiva. Fie upon the forehead that is devoid of ash. Fie upon the village that has no Shiva temple. Fie upon that life that does not worship Shiva. Fie upon the law that does not refer to Shiva. Great indeed is the sin accruing even from the sight of those who censure Shiva, who is the support of the three worlds, and those who censure the man wearing Tripundra on his forehead. They are on a par with pigs of rubbish heap, demons, donkeys, dogs, jackals, and worms. Such sinful persons are hellish fiends even from their very birth. They may not see the sun during the day and the moon during the night. They may not see them even during sleep. They may be freed from repeating the Vedic Rudra Sukta. Those who censure a person wearing the Tripundra are fools. A mere talk with them may cause the fall into hell. There is no way of saving them. O sage, Tantrika is not authorized in a Shiva Yagna, nor a person having Urdhva Pundra worn on the forehead by vertical marks by a Vaishnava. A person marked with a heated wheel, a mark of a Vaishnava, is excluded from Shiva Yajna. There are many worlds to be attained, as explained in Brahajabala Upanishad. Taking that into consideration, a man shall be devoted to the ashes. Just as sandal paste alone can be applied over sandal paste, so only the ash shall be applied over the sacred mark on the forehead. A sensible person will not apply anything over the forehead that wears the ornamental mark of ashes on it. The Tripundra shall be applied up to the forelocks by women. Brahmins and widows shall apply the ash. Also similarly, it shall be applied by persons of all aramas. Thus it bestows salvation and destroys all sins. He who makes Tripundra duly with the ash is freed from groups of great as well as small sins. A brahmacharin, a householder, a forest dweller, or an ascetic, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras, the low and the base people become pure by means of Tripundra and Udulana, applied according to the prescribed manner, and get their heaps of sins destroyed. A person regularly applying the ash is freed of the sins of slaughter of women and cows, and that of heroes and horses. There is no doubt about it. By means of Tripundra, the following and similar other of innumerable sorts are destroyed immediately: thieves of others, wealth, outraging the modesty of other men's wives, censoring others, usurping and forcibly occupying others, fields, harassing others, thieves, theft of plants, parks, etc., incendiarism, acceptance from the base people of the gifts of cow, gold, buffalo, gingerly seeds, blankets, cloths, cooked rice, food grains, water, etc., sexual intercourse with prostitutes, women of the tribal castes, fisherwomen, slave women, actresses, widows, virgins, and women in their menstrual periods, selling of flesh, hides, gravy, etc., and salt, calumny, perjury, deceitful arguments, and utterance of falsehood, the theft of Shiva's property, censure of Shiva in certain places, and the censure of the devotees of Shiva can be dispelled by the rites of expiation. Even the Chandala who wears Rudraksha over his body and the Tripundra on his forehead is worthy of respect. He is the most excellent of all caste. He who wears the Tripundraka on his forehead gains the same merit as one who takes his bath in the sacred rivers like Ganga and whatever other sacred ponds, lakes, and holy centers there are in the world. The 5-syllable mantra, which grants Shiva Kaivalya, is on a par with 7 crores of great and many crores of other mantras. O sage, mantras of other deities bestowing all blessedness are easily accessible to the devotee who wears the Tripundra. He who wears Tripundra raises 1,000 predecessors and 1,000 successors in his family. In this life, he will enjoy all worldly pleasures and live long without any disease. At the end of the span of his life, he will have a peaceful death. He will assume then a divine auspicious body endowed with 8 accomplishments. He will travel by a divine aerial chariot attended by celestial gods. He will enjoy the pleasures of Vedyadharas, powerful Gandharvas, in the worlds of Indra and other guardians of the quarters, and those of Prajapatis, and finally reach Brahma's region, where he will sport with 100 virgins. He will enjoy different kinds of pleasures there for the full period of the span of life of Brahma. He will then enjoy the pleasures in the Vishnu Loka till 100 Brahmas die. Thereafter, he will attain Shiva Loka and enjoy everlasting bliss there. Finally, he will attain Shiva Sayujya. No suspicion need be entertained in this matter. After going through the essence of all Upanishads again and again, this is what has been arrived at, that the Tripundra is conducive to great excellence. A Brahmin who censures the ash is no longer a Brahmin, but of another low caste. He will undergo the tortures of terrible hell for the period of the span of life of the 4-faced Brahma. A man who wears the Tripundra while performing Shraddha, Yajna, Japa, Homa, Vaishvadeva, and other worship of the deities is a purified soul, and he conquers even death. When impurities are evacuated, a bath with water shall be performed. A bath with ash is always purificatory. A bath with mantras removes sin. And if a bath with knowledge is taken, the greatest goal will be reached. A man who takes the bath of ashes derives that benefit which all holy centers accord. He gets the merit thereof. Bath with the ash is a holy center where Ganga Snana is possible every day. Shiva is represented by the ash, which directly sanctifies the 3 worlds. Infructuous is the knowledge, meditation, gift, and japa, if these are performed by a Brahmana without wearing Tripundraka. A forest dweller, virgins, and men without initiation shall apply the ash, pasted in water, up to the midday, and thereafter without water. He who wears Tripundra like this regularly with a pure, controlled mind must be considered a true devotee of Shiva. He derives worldly pleasures and salvation. If a person does not wear a bead of Rudraksha, which accords many merits, if he is devoid of Tripundra as well, his life becomes futile. Thus I have briefly told you the greatness of Tripundra. This is a secret to be safely guarded by you from all living beings. O leading sages, in the different parts of the body, as the forehead, etc., 3 lines constitute the Tripundra. The Tripundra on the forehead extends from the middle of the eyebrows to the tips of the brows on either side. With the middle and the ring fingers, a line drawn in the opposite direction is called Tripundra. With the 3 middle fingers, take the ashes and apply the Tripundra on the forehead. It will give worldly pleasures and salvation. For each of the 3 lines, there are 9 deities everywhere in the body. I shall mention them. Listen attentively. The 9 deities of the first line are the syllable A. Garhapatya, fire, sacrificial fire. Earth. Dharma, the attribute. Rajas, Rigveda. Kriya Shakti, the power to do. Prata Savana, morning rituals. And Mahadeva, or foremost among sages. This shall be carefully understood by those who are initiated in the cult of Shiva. The 9 deities of the second line are the syllable U, Daksina, fire, sacrificial fire, the principle of ether, attribute Sattva, Yajurveda, Madhyandina, Savana, midday rituals, Icha Shakti, the willpower, the Antaratman, the eminent soul, and Maheshvara, O foremost among sages. This must be carefully understood by those who are initiated in the cult of Shiva. The 9 deities of the third line are the syllable M, Ahavaniya, sacrificial fire, the supreme soul, the attribute Tamas, heaven, Jnana Shakti, Samaveda, the third Savana, evening ritual, and Shiva, O foremost among sages. This must be carefully understood by those initiated in the cult of Shiva, thus making obeisance to the deities of the different parts with devotion. One shall apply the Tripundra, one will become pure with and derive worldly pleasures and salvation. Thus I have mentioned, O lordly sages, the deities of the different parts of the body. Now please listen to the different parts connected with them. These lines are to be made either in 32 places, or half of that in 16 places, or in 8 places, or in 5 places. The 32 places are head, forehead, 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 noses, mouth, neck, 2 arms, 2 elbows, 2 wrists, chest, 2 sides, navel, 2 testicles, 2 thighs, 2 knees, 2 calves, 2 heels, and 2 feet. The names of the following shall be uttered when the Tripundra is applied: fire, water, earth, wind, the quarters, the guardians of the quarters, the 8 Vasus. The 8 Vasus are Dhara, Dhruva, Soma, Apa, Anila, Anala, Pratyusa, and Prabhasa. Or the devotee shall apply the Tripundra in 16 parts of the body. The 16 parts mentioned before are head, forehead, neck, 2 shoulders, 2 arms, 2 elbows, 2 wrists, chest, navel, 2 sides, and back. The names of the deities presiding over them and which are to be worshipped are 2 Ashvins, Dasra, and Nasatya, Shiva, Shakti, Rudra, Isa, Narada, and 9 Shaktis, Vama, etc. Or the 16 parts are head, hair, 2 eyes, the mouth, 2 arms, chest, navel, 2 thighs, knees, 2 feet, and the back. The deities are Shiva, Chandra, Rudra, Ka, Brahma, Vigneshvara, Vishnu. Shri is in the heart, Shambhu, Prajapati in the navel, Naga, Kanyas, Rishi Kanyas in the feet, and the ocean of vast expansion in the back. Now the 8 parts are mentioned. The private parts, forehead, the excellent pair of ears, 2 shoulders, chest, and navel. These are the 8 parts of the body. The presiding deities are Brahma and the 7 sages. O lordly sages, this is what has been mentioned by those who know about the efficacy of the ashes. All these 5 parts are to be used for applying ashes as mentioned by those who know more about the efficacy of the ashes. They are forehead, 2 arms, chest and navel. Considering the place and time, whatever possible shall be done by the devotee. If incapable of dusting the whole body with the holy ashes, he shall have the Tripundra on the forehead alone, remembering the Lord Shiva, the 3-eyed, the support of the 3 gunas, and the progenerator of the 3 devas, by repeating Namah Shivaya, obeisance to Shiva. He shall have Tripundra in the sides, saying Isa Bhyam Nama, obeisance to Shiva and the goddess, and in the 4 arms by saying Bija Bhyam Nama, obeisance to the generating seeds. He shall apply the ashes beneath by saying Nama Pitrabhyam, obeisance to the manis, and above by saying Nama Umesha Bhyam, obeisance to Uma and Isha. On the back and the back of the head by saying Nama Bhimaya, obeisance to Bhima. Footnotes. So, which is 155, which is compare Basma Jaba one more time. Basma Jabhal Upanishad. And there's some mantras here that in Hindi I can't say yet. Right? There are 7 mantras here. Let me see here. 158. Let me see here. Well, basically, let me see. The 5-syllable mantra is Om Namah Shivaya. They're saying here, they're talking about a particular text, but they say this particular text is corrupt and the English rendering is not certain. This is pertaining to, right? Okay. And here in today's read, oh no, there's one more. The 8 Vasus mentioned in this verse differ in certain names from those in the Sataparta Brahmana. Yeah, and now we end today's reading of the Shiv Puran. Om Prabhu Prananatham Vibhum Veshwanatham Jagannatanatham Sarantabhacham Om Kapura Kauram Karanavataram Sansarasaram. Om Tuya Mata Chapitatvam Tuya Manusha Chasakatvam Tuya Vidyatra Vinam Tuya Sarvamama Deva Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.